I can't tell you guys of one job or client that's ever asked me if I have a film degree or if I went to film school or studied film in college. No one's ever asked me about that. You don't need a degree to get into filmmaking. The point of going to film school is to get the knowledge on how to do the job. And with that said, let's dive into this topic. But before we do, if you're a filmmaker and you want some free filmmaking assets like LUTs, overlays, or aspect ratio boxes, I have a link down below, so make sure to check that out. There are two things that I really enjoyed about going to film school and studying film. One being that I got to connect with other, filmmakers that have come from out of state, from different backgrounds, and different point of views and perspectives on filmmaking. And I just got to see how they work and what kind of films they like and learn from directors that they're into. And it's really cool because since finishing school 2 years ago, I've been able to hire some of those same people to come on set, help me camera operate, play a little role in some of their projects. And it's just been good to make connections. So going to film school is a good place to kind of establish some connections, because you never know, down the line, 6 or 7 years later, one of those friends that you made in film school could be working on a big project, like a big film or something where, they can think of you and they could offer you an opportunity. And it's just good to be nice and be kind to everyone in school and to just make some good connections. Point two is that I had access to the gear closet. There was over $200,000 worth of gear, sky panels and C300s and lenses and things like that. And I was just kind of shocked that a lot of the students didn't use too much of the gear. One thing I did while I was in film school was use up the gear as much as I could. I was booking shoots where they were requiring me to have nicer cameras, nicer lenses, bigger lights, and I didn't own any of that gear. I had a small Sony a7S II and a gimbal and maybe 2 lights, but there were so many lights and equipment that I had access to. So when someone would ask me to, DP for a music video or do, some other project for them, I had access to the gear closet, which came in really handy because, when you're in school and you're in college, no one wants to hear that you're in school. You shouldn't also tell people that you're in film school when you're in film school, because when someone tells me that they're in film school, I immediately don't think of them less as a person or a human being, but just think that maybe they don't have as much experience. And one of the reasons I was able to get all the experiences, get a portfolio going, so by the time I graduated from college and had some big clients on my list, was that I wouldn't tell people I was in film school, because no one asks if you've been to film school or not, because it just doesn't help you that much. When you show up on set, you want to be like all the other professionals that have been in the industry for the past, however many years, doing it as their real job. And saying a student kind of means that being a student is part of your job right now in this current, season of life. So I would encourage you guys to not tell people that you're film students, not to lie about it, but just don't mention it, and use up the gear closet. So many opportunities have come from just me being able to access, the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gear in the school closet. But then I would take those 2 points, making connections with friends and having access to the gear closet, and kind of weigh it with the $100,000 tuition that I have to pay over 4 years. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't quite equate, to the value I'm getting for $100,000 put into the education. So that's something to keep in mind whenever you're looking for film schools or institutes or any place where you're gonna be in a class environment, and you have to pay tuition. So just keep that in mind. What I didn't like about going to a traditional college was that you still have to get all your gen eds out of the way. I still had all my math, science, history, English, writing, speech, all those other gen ed classes that I pretty much took in high school anyway. I had to retake those classes, and that took away a lot of time from me being able to, say yes to things that were film related, saying yes to PAing on some music video, or yes to, shooting BTS for another project or something like that. So it was frustrating when a gig or a job would come up and it would fall during one of my classes. So what I'd have to do is just skip class, go do the video shoot because it's what I'm going to school for, but that didn't always sit well with the professors. So it's a difficult decision that you're gonna have to make at times, where you could either be a good student and do your homework, turn in your work on time, but also could be on set somewhere, in the city that you're living in, and going on set and learning and making connections. I mean, most of my professors didn't care if I had a video shoot. If I skip class more than 3 times, then I'm out of that class. So when I was a senior in school, I had this one random opportunity come up to shoot a music video for an indie artist, and I was literally getting paid like $500 for like 3 days of work. It was crazy. But what was really fun about it is that we had this challenge of going to 3 different cities in 3 days. So we drove to Atlanta, and then we flew to Miami, and then from Miami we flew to Puerto Rico, and we did, performance shots in all these 3 cities. And it was like some of the most fun I've ever had. And I told one of my professors about the opportunity, and he was luckily very supportive and was behind me. But all the other professors in all my other classes basically counted it as a skip and didn't really care, what I was doing was important. And to take this a step further, most film schools don't have an updated curriculum. And by updated, I mean the textbooks are, 10 years old. We're still learning how Hollywood works and how to become a director in Hollywood. But matter of fact is that it's not realistic, because there's way more opportunities in video than just going to LA and doing film. Some of the knowledge that's being offered by the professors is slightly outdated, because some of these professors haven't worked professionally in their field in 5, 10, 20 years. They haven't done a music video in 20 years. So it's really difficult to also trust their advice, because like our generation grew up on the internet. We grew up learning on YouTube. We grew up watching tutorials, video essays, cinematography breakdowns, behind the scenes, and we're able to learn information and absorb it a lot quicker than being in class every day for 2 hours at a time, reading a textbook, taking notes. If I need to learn how, to operate an Alexa Mini, I'll just go watch a 10-minute video on how to operate one. I don't have to wait 2.5 years to get to my junior or senior year in school and hope that, whenever we get to shooting someone's thesis, I'm able to get a camera or something. And then the other thing is that I would say most of the professors that I had in film school didn't really teach anything about music videos, which right now is one of the main ways for a lot of filmmakers, videographers to be making money. That's how I got started in the music video industry, and that's most of the work that I do right now, is because I was able to connect with, musicians and different artists, and that's a gateway into getting into filmmaking, because some of the people I look up to, some of my mentors, they started with filmmaking in the music video world, and then worked their way up to commercials, eventually doing bigger films. And I'm not saying that's the path for everyone, but that's what I've noticed, and that's what I've observed and know that works. And that's just a topic that was never really discussed in film school. Another difficult thing to predict while in film school is the question that I'm sure we all have to ask ourselves when we get to, the end of the 4-year program is, am I going to be able to work in the industry as soon as I'm done with school? You pretty much spend the first 2.5 years of being, in film school or at a university, taking in-person classes, which could be helpful, watching some films, reading textbooks, and having assignments and stuff, and not really getting hands-on experience on set that would prepare you for what's to come after graduating. When I first became interested in, shooting videos, I would spend time on set as a PA and, really listen to the lingo that the DP's using, the producer's using, the first AD's using, and just kind of observe and just also absorb all these things, because I knew that sometime soon I need to, I'll be given an opportunity and I have to be ready to, play the part, basically. I can't always fake it till you make it. And I would say most of the knowledge I've received has been through watching YouTube videos, through being on set and seeing how the gaffer works, and learning what different lenses look like on a camera. And experiences that I wouldn't have been really able to have while in film school. So that's something to really consider if you're wanting to go to film school, for the specific, skill or the field you want to be in. If it's directing, screenwriting, if you want to be a gaffer or, cinematographer, make sure that the school you're looking at has classes, has programs available that would, teach you those things. What I'm trying to do with this channel is to basically cut through the crap and get you the essentials you need for getting your filmmaking career going. I've spent so many hours watching video essays, tutorials, behind the scenes, and all that jazz. And I want to share my experiences with you guys, because I've, had to learn sometimes the hard way, and just want to make sure that if you're getting started in, doing video work, film work, or if you're interested at all in this field, that I'm able to offer some knowledge and some experiences that would help you guys. So thanks again for taking some time to watch this video. If you're a filmmaker and want some free filmmaking assets, there's a link down below, and I'll see you guys soon.